I believe that it's my duty and responsibility not only to be a good leader, but to continue to build the business for the future of the people who are working with me and wearing my brand. This is not an industry that we can stay in and continue to abuse our bodies, training people for hours and hours and hours a day. So if your aspirations are to have a team, write everything down. So teaching the team how to ask the right questions, how to read people, how to be able to pivot mentally and emotionally if somebody needs us to support them in a slightly different way that day. And then that's the relationship building and the rapport building that I think makes training something that will be around far beyond whenever the robots take everything over.
Hello and welcome to Gym World Worldwide. I am your host today, running solo, Mateo Lopez, and I am here today with a very special guest. I'm very excited, Marie Merritt. She is the founder of Momentum Fit out in Ponte Vedra Beach, up near Jacksonville, Florida, not too far from there. And today we're going to hopefully learn a few things. One, last year, Marie had a huge Black Friday sale where she generated over $150,000 of revenue in just 24 hours. So we want to learn all about that. We want to learn how maybe we can apply this playbook and her approach to discounts to run other successful sale events, maybe not on Black Friday, maybe like a summer shred or perhaps a back to school or a new year, new you. We'll see if we can apply these lessons to some of those times of the year where we can do a big blowout sale. We're also going to learn more about her approach to operations. Marie used to coach 60 hours a week on the floor, and now she's down to pretty much zero. So we want to learn about her experience there, how to delegate, how to move from working in the business to on the business. And generally speaking, I'm just really excited to hear more about her journey as a professional in the fitness business. The gym has been open for over 20 years, and not many of us can say that. So hopefully we can learn some of her secrets. So with that, Marie, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you.
Well, great. So why don't we start off with just tell us a little about your gym in its current state, right? Have you been in this space for the last 20 years?
So I've been in the business park. I started off in a space that is a quarter of the size that I have now. And then over the years, as the business has demanded more growth and expansion, I've leaned into that, taken the risk, and it's paid off quite nicely. But we've been in the same business park the whole time.
So the same general location.
Mhm.
Great. And how big is your current space?
We have 5,400 square feet.
Oh, wow. So 5,400. Okay. So it's like a medium size, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5,400 is a medium size. And paint a picture for us, for those of us listening. So you have I'm assuming the main floor. Do you have an office? Give us the layout.
We do. So you walk in, and we don't have front desk, reception, anything. You walk into the gym, and it's very open. I have most of our equipment on the outside of the gym, and then we have a bigger rig in the center, but everything flows pretty nicely. Our trainers communicate well. I wanted to keep it as open as possible versus just shoving a bunch of equipment in so that our clients feel like they have room to move. It's not as intimidating, but we have everything that we need to effectively move a human being whenever they walk through our doors. And then office space, we have a couple of therapy rooms. We do massage therapy. I do health coaching, and it allows us some separation versus just having people, like if we do a consultation, we take them to one of the offices, then we have some privacy and can have more of an intimate moment with the client so that we can get to know who they are and what their goals are.
So it's let me see if I can pull up a little for those watching at home on YouTube. So it's a bit of it's a square essentially,
Yep.
right? A big square.
Sure.
As you said, you have like a lot of the equipment on the border of said square, and in the middle there is a rig. This doesn't look like 5,400 square feet. So I'm imagining some of the offices are
Yeah, the
taking up.
offices would be to like whenever you walk in to the left. And then we have in our massage therapy practice, it's like a completely separate suite. So you don't have to go through the gym. You don't get
Okay.
gym noise with the massage therapy.
So how big is the main coaching floor?
The main coaching floor, I would say 3,700 square feet.
Yeah, that kind of makes a little more sense. It looks a little
Yeah.
bigger than some of the CrossFit gyms I didn't. I had in New York, so that makes more sense. Cool. So, okay, great. And then, what are the kind of services you offer there? I know you mentioned massage therapy. Tell us about the services that you have at the gym.
So we're still private training mostly. I would say 85% of our revenue is from private one-on-one training. The hardest part about that model is it's hard to scale unless you have the manpower, but it fits our demographic really well. It fits the area. People have a relatively high amount of disposable income and they want private trainers. So we do a lot of one-on-one PT. Even our small groups are 6 to 1.
Wow. Okay. So most of the majority is still the majority is one-on-one personal training. You do some small groups, and yeah, so you need a lot of manpower to. So how many members do we have?
I would say at any given time we're serving between 300 and 400 members, but we have some people who are seasonal. They've got homes sometimes in 2 or 3 other places.
300 to 400 members. I mean, yeah, and that square that still can get pretty tight. So how many people are on the floor at a given moment? Like how many coaches and how many clients in the busy times?
During the busiest time, I could have 12 of my coaches all out there training, and it could be for one-on-one. I would say maximum, including coaches on the floor, we've had, let's say, 30 people training, but our team communicates so well, and it's something that we work on pretty regularly on how the client should never feel like we don't have enough equipment to do our job. So it comes down to their communication, their collaboration, and how well they work together to be able to move people safely, effectively, and still, provide them with a really good experience.
I want to get into some of that a little later. I want to talk about the operations side, how you use the space, how do you make sure people aren't bumping into each other. I think there's some stuff to learn there. But before we get into that, I wanted to also ask about, okay, so you said the 80% of the revenue, most of the revenue is still one-on-one personal training. How do you currently package and price?
We still sell packages. I have tried doing the monthly auto recurring so that we have consistent, stable revenue. And it doesn't work for our clients in the way that if they are gone for 6 months out of a year or 3 months out of a year, they don't want something that is going to be auto recurring. So they're willing to pay a higher dollar amount per hour to have the flexibility of being able to use a package.
So you sell big chunks of
Mhm.
big class pack or
Like
session packs, I
like
should say,
12
one-on-one packs.
or 36. Most people buy the 36 pack at a time,
And how often are people coming usually with that 36?
3 times a week.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so it's like I guess 12-week chunks is basically where people are buying. They're coming 3 times a week. 30. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. So you mostly sell packs. Is it all kind of the hourly rate, or is it do you do 30-minute sessions, 45?
We have some half-hour sessions. Those are for people who, let's say, they are completely deconditioned. If somebody has a lot of health implications and we could cause them a lot of harm by doing a full hour, I recommend them starting off with a half an hour. We have a fair population who are in their 80s, and half an hour is more than enough. So we do sell half hour, and then our primary market is still the full hour training sessions.
And what are our rates here? Do they get a discount for buying more, like 36 sessions, or?
Yeah, so the 36 session pack, it's I think 75 a session, and then it goes up from there, usually in $5 increments. So we try to stay, I would say, pretty in the middle whenever it comes to private training rates.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, so 75 to maybe even close to 95, 100 an hour. Awesome. Okay, and so has this, I mean, you kind of mentioned it before. I was going to ask if this has evolved over time, but it sounds like you tried to have it change and you're still sticking with the packs. Well, I guess that makes sense. As you said, if you're dealing with seasonal people and snowbirds, yeah, trying to sell them into, a monthly package, auto renewing, auto recurring is probably tough when they're like, well, I'm going to leave in 3 months. I'm going to leave in 4 months. Um, and then trying to get year-long commitments probably also doesn't really make sense if you're going to put them on hold anyway. And then what are the other services? You mentioned some semi-private and some massage stuff.
Yeah, we have massage therapy. I also, one of our trainers, along with being a massage therapist, he provides active release techniques. So think of really specific pressure, a solid 20 to 30 minutes, but you're moving while he's applying the pressure point. So some people like that better than massage therapy. It's really good for like soft tissue injuries. So we have that. And then I do behavioral health coaching with people. So I can tackle how people set up their home environment, their sleep schedule, what are their day-to-day rituals that are either reinforcing health or moving them further from it.
That's cool. So is that something you do like a check-in once a month, or is it like a phone call? How does that work?
So I train my team on how to integrate these tools into their training sessions with clients because not everybody wants to sit down with me. Most people don't. So I would be a separate or an add-on service. If somebody wants to utilize me, I will take a fine tooth comb to their entire life, and then we set what goals they want to accomplish in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years, and then I help them create actions that develop skills. So that is a completely separate service offering that we have. But if somebody wants to ask me a general question, every member has my cell phone number. I don't necessarily recommend doing that, but it's something that has worked well for me. People feel like they have access to me, and it helps my team provide a good quality coaching during their training sessions.
It's interesting. We tried that one time when we had the gym in New York. We called it the Habits Program, the Healthy Habits Program, which I always found kind of difficult to sell because no one really wants to do healthy habit stuff. Or it's like, hey, you should drink water when you wake up first thing. It's like, okay, I'm paying you, an extra whatever a month just to tell me to drink more water. I know I need to drink more water. It's like, well, I know that you need, but I know but you're not doing it. So that was always kind of the approach, but we struggled with it. So you're saying in some ways it's kind of integrated into the sessions they're already kind of getting because the coaches are just talking to them, throughout their session for that hour. But there's also an add-on, a more advanced add-on. Is that
Yeah, if
right?
the more advanced add-on would be if somebody really wants to tackle it and face it, because that's where most people fall off, right? Their habits at home. And not everybody wants to take accountability for the stuff that they're doing day to day. They just want you to move them. They want you to give them some nutrition advice. They don't want to take a look at the habits that are either supporting or not supporting their overall health and well-being. And so for the people who want to take a deep dive, that's where they can add on coaching with me.
How many people are in that program?
Right now, I'm working with about 12 people.
And how much does that cost?
On average, if I were to break it down into an hourly rate, about 175 an hour.
Wow. Beautiful. Amazing. And sorry, how often are you meeting with them, or how often are you talking with them, working with them?
On the front end, I'll have more consistent meetings with them. It could be a weekly or biweekly meeting. And those are for people who have a lot of really tough behaviors or other lifestyle related things that are going on. Most people, I'm meeting with them once a month. And then we work on the habits and the behaviors. And then I have a system for checking in the in between.
Beautiful. And then you also have semi-privates,
Mhm.
but it sounds like it's a small portion of the overall business.
Yeah.
We're talking for 10 minutes, dear listener. We'll get to the juicy stuff now while you all tuned in today. While we're talking about packaging and pricing, tell me a little bit about this Black Friday sale. What was the actual offer? How do we make this thing happen?
I never run sales ever. I was the firm believer that if you run a sale, you are the sale, you become it. I had a few years ago somebody said that I should do a Black Friday sale, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. I think I discounted only our 12 session package, and then it did well. And I was like, okay, so the next year I threw just a blanket discount on all of our services, and we had people buy way too many. I would say I lost around $30,000. Now, granted, I made money that day on paper, but whenever I looked at the total discounted, it equated to around 30,000. So I said, oh, okay, well, what would make it worth running a sale? And I had to look at my bottom line. So I said, okay, what is a number that is tolerable? So if our lowest price point is 75 for the hour, I went like $2.50 lower than our $75 session. And then I made a 104 pack. So we get a year-long commitment for that discounted rate. And we had several people buy it. And then the other discounted packaging was our 12 packs, which again, it put them right around that $75 an hour. So I would say that the loss or the discount was tolerable enough that I didn't feel like I was going to die watching our Black Friday numbers increase.
Wow, so it's really okay. So you basically took your lowest session price and applied a very small discount to it. Sounds like it was just a few dollars.
Yeah, it was only a few dollars per session.
It's a few dollars off per session, but I guess if it's a year's worth of sessions, yeah, it could be. I guess how did you present this? What did you tell them the offer was?
I think that people are so used to me not doing a discount that getting a discount in any way, shape, or form, they were ready, willing, and able to jump on it because our clients, I mean, I had people months ahead of time, like, when are you doing this? Why don't you do a sale? Why don't you do this? So they are so sale hungry, they want it, that whenever I say I'm doing a sale, I don't even think they do the math. So I would look at it and I said, okay, I'm going to take the average person trains twice a week. Here's our lowest price point. I'm going to figure out what that would cost. And then let's say I threw a 10% discount on that total cost to pay up front for a year. It really equated to just a couple of dollars.
I see. So you added up all the sessions throughout the year, put a 10% discount on that essentially, and that was the play. Okay. So you just said it's a Black Friday sale. You didn't even tell them how much they'd be saving. You just told them there's a sale.
I just told them it was a sale. My team ahead of time, we role played the conversations because I had people like 3 days before and they knew that they only had Black Friday to get it. We role played those conversations whenever somebody would be like, well, it's in 2 days. Why can't I have it now? And it's like, okay, well, nope, it's not the day of the sale. So it creates that like, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. The scarcity.
That anticipation, the scarcity, it's all building up to this moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So you never you had discounted previously. You played around with the idea.
Yeah.
It's too much of a discount.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, we like the amount of sales we're getting. We're just not liking what we're charging.
Right.
So we ran the math again. We found something that worked for you, that was still profitable for you. And I guess how far in advance were you starting to plant the seeds for this thing leading up to the Black Friday sale?
So the clients who have been with us for a long time, they started talking about it. I had a couple talking about it in July and August about Black Friday. Are you going to do another sale? And I would say, yes, but I don't know what yet. It's going to be different than last year, and it's going to be different than the year before. And so it started creating some buzz around the gym or the anticipation because as much as I'm not training, I'm still in the gym a lot because I like it. It's an extension of my human. So people know me, they see me, they can ask me questions. But we really started the marketing effort, I would say, about 8 weeks prior. I had everything lined out. I had my team informed on what the sale would be. And then we sent out email newsletter, we sent out text messages. I had the trainers directly communicating with the clients. Like, hey, just to let you know, if you miss it, you're going to miss it. We won't honor it the day after.
Okay, great. So you announced it on your newsletter list. You texted the client list and telling people this is coming up. How many reminders did you send out?
I would say at least 5 text messages. So there was the announcement, there were the reminders, hey, this is coming. And then the day of, they got 2 messages that I had pre-scheduled to send out. And I mean, I use Kilo and a Gym Lead Machine. So that's easy for me to do, is just have it scheduled out to send. And I made sure, like, hey, if you don't get it, if you didn't already buy it, I put the purchase link for our store in the text message and kind of let the back end systems do the work. So we weren't individually texting 400 people.
Wow. Amazing. And was there any finesse to the copy, or really, was it really just as simple as like, hey, we got this sale. It's coming up. Don't forget about it. Hey, it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Hey, it's today. Time to buy.
Such a direct communicator. Me adding fluff to things, it doesn't work. Somebody would have been like, oh, Marie had AI write this because there's all of these extra words in it versus here's our sale. We love you. We know that you like sales. So if you want to buy it, here it is.
This is the one time a year also.
One time a year. You're never going to, like, we won't honor it the day after Black Friday. There's no Cyber Monday. There's none of this extra stuff. And if you purchase this, you can also get, a 60-minute massage. Like there were certain things that we did on, like we padded the services, but it was really to provide a little bit more exposure to some of the newer service offerings and gave us an opportunity to upsell clients on the other side, right? You get them in for a massage. Now you can create a little bit more revenue for that portion of the business.
Interesting. So we included some of the other ancillary services, and by including those, they're going to experience it, and then they're going to try it out. And then you can convert them and upsell them from there. So really, if you do your job right, you're making up some of that discount because you're going to sell them into massage. You're going to sell them into something else. Maybe the Habits program. I'm not sure what you call it. I'm calling it Habits. It's not what it's called, but it's whatever your version of that thing is.
Well, it does involve people's habits. So that's a simplified part of it.
Yes. Okay. And so how many people took you up on it?
So the full year, I would say we had, because I mean the sale we grossed like 159,000. We had a handful of people, I would say maybe 20% of our client population bought something on sale. But out of the 160,000, I would say half of that came from, or a little over half of that came from people committing for a full year.
And are these paid in full, or what are these?
Oh no, they're paid in full. I don't do break into payments after somebody commits to that. No, it's
So how much is that year package of sessions?
it was over $7,000.
Got it. So we can kind of figure out how many people bought. If we know it was 160,
I can pull
It's like eight.
reports and
Yeah.
look on that. But as far as like how many people took us up on it, and if I think about it,
160,000. We try not to do public math.
Yeah,
Divided by, what did you say, $7,000?
yeah, let's just say 7,000. I feel like it was a little over.
Yeah. Okay. So like 25, 22, 25-ish people,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah.
20-ish people, 25-ish people, 30 people, maybe. Who's to say? Well, but having such a high ticket, I mean, that's how you're able to make that happen. So that's great. Did this offer go out to prospects or people who hadn't been in the gym in a while?
It did. Yeah, I sent it out to our entire list. So somebody who, let's say they were interested, never became a client. Some people who were former members got it. Nobody out of those groups bought the 104 sessions. They did, however, there were several who bought the 12 pack and started training. So then we were able to convert them after that because you can go through 12 sessions in a month. So we were able to convert them into long-term regular price paying members after their discount pack was over.
The 12 pack was also discounted, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, gym owners, are you looking for a way to generate more leads, close more sales, and increase client retention? Introducing Kilo. We are a software company that gives gym owners the tools they need to increase revenue and run a successful gym. With Kilo, you get a beautifully designed website to capture more leads, an integrated marketing automation platform to increase sales, and our gym management software so you can add new client memberships, process payments, and organize your class schedule. If you're ready to upgrade your gym management software, book a call at usekilo.com.
So we've kind of talked about it a little bit. We talked about how you only run the scarcity piece of this is the one time you can get it. We talked about the reminders. So it sounds like you didn't need to do any consultations if this was mostly members. You know, this is just like, here's the link. No sales call with me. It's just buy it and that's it.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for people who want to try something like this? Maybe, they want to try some kind of back to school sale or maybe a summer shred sale, or, maybe they're gearing up for next year, the new year, new you. What advice do you have for people who want to try to run kind of a similar kind of playbook?
I would say, first figure out what your bottom line is, like what you can tolerate discounting, because ultimately we have to work it off in some way, shape, or form. And if it is going to cut too much into your profit margin, the money that you have to run your business and operate your business, don't do it. That would be my advice on that end. Also, make sure that if you are, let's say you're trying to build out or fill a particular program, maybe that would be the thing that I would run the sale on to get people bought into a specific program. Like if I were going to run, let's say I were to start a new service, I may, because I have the padding of the normal business revenue, choose to not discount my normal business, run a sale on the new service just so that I can get people enrolled and interested. But outside of that, I think that we have a tendency to too heavily discount things because we want to earn the business. And then getting somebody to buy into what your normal pricing is on the other side is quite hard because people want the discount because they like, hey, I signed up for your intro pack. Let's say our intro pack is 4 sessions, it's $60 a session, which is quite a bit less than our normal. And then they don't want to pay our normal rates because they feel like $60 is fair because we accepted it for 4 sessions, right? Like I don't necessarily want to turn into that discounted rate.
Yeah, so it's basically it works because people are used to these are regular clients and they're already used to paying your normal rate. Now here's just a way to honestly increase retention is really what it is for a small period of time and get more buy-in. And you get some of that cash up front, which is also really helpful. Great. So yeah, I think if you want to run this play, the key one is, there has to be some scarcity involved, right? This works because Marie never discounts. And so her clients are really happy at the opportunity to buy into a service that they love at a slightly discounted rate and they can buy in bulk. Two, build some hype around it. So you have to have your reminders prepped and ready to go. You should be blasting your list and you should be texting people too, right? Some people don't read emails these days. Texting is a great way to make sure, okay, they saw it, right? And then on top of that, your staff has to be informed and have a script ready to what they say either before or after a session to remind people at the sale, remind that it's coming up. Anything else involved? I know you mentioned some role playing. Anything else with the staff training?
The role playing side is taking scenarios that we've had, or let's say I had a client corner me in the gym. I'm 5'5" and he's like 6'7", and he really wanted the discount that day. And he's like, well, I'm going to buy it anyways. Why can't I have it? So I was taking those situations and teaching the team how to respond whenever somebody wants the discount so badly. And then you just kind of, how do we stay firm? How do we not like, oh, well, let me go ask? Because whenever we start bending or wiggling, that leaves a lot of room for people to kind of like shove the door open, so to speak. And then if you are willing to give something, people are always willing to take it. And so I had to teach my team, like, how do we respond if somebody corners you and says, I want the discount today? So the role playing was quite interesting. I had several of them come with questions, or they would play their certain client personalities and we would just have discussions. But we have a weekly team meeting. And so that gives us really good platform to do that.
You have to stand firm if you're going to run this play, because otherwise, if you say, yeah, okay, you're ready to, like, I imagine it's hard to turn down money, right? They're offering it to you right now. But if you let them buy the sale price right now, then the next day someone hears about it, they're going to want it that day. And now you've turned into, well, now I'm just running the sale every day instead of what's supposed to be on Friday, on Black Friday.
To each other.
Yes.
Well, they did it for me. Oh,
mm-hmm. Go ask them. Go corner somebody, and they'll do it for you too. And for the gym owners listening, this probably won't work if you're already running a lot of promotions. So maybe let's take a step back there. How do you normally get new people through the door? Do you have any front end offers, or is it really just these are our session rates and these are the packs?
So whenever I do a consultation or one of my team members does it, we have like our consultation SOP, and I'm big on presenting our pricing for the services that they're interested in. Let's say somebody is interested in doing private training, but they're also kind of curious about group. I only show them the pricing for both of those services. And then if they hesitate, then we go to, okay, well, if you want like the dating option, we have an intro pack. But once you're done with the intro pack, you can pick what you want next. So it's all on like how clear we are on the sales on the front end for making sure that people understand what our actual pricing is if they do buy in for an intro pack.
What is the intro pack?
Our intro pack for private training, it's 4 sessions for $240.
Oh, so you were serious. I thought that was a hypothetical before. That is the intro pack. Gotcha.
And then for group, we have a week pass. Right now, we're not even selling intro packs because I wanted my team to go out and meet strangers and talk to people. So we're doing a free week, which is 1 consultation and 2 sessions. It could be group, it could be private. So we're giving people that like free intro offer just to get more bodies in the door. But most of the people who are going to take us up on that are interested in personal training anyways.
Let's talk a little bit about that. What do you mean they're going out and having conversations with strangers?
Having a business for 20 years, we get leads pretty naturally through our website, through Google, a ton of word of mouth. And then
You're a known quantity. You've been around for so long. You're a known quantity in town.
right. So my team, as much as I love them, they will sit and they will just let me fill their schedules. And then they will tell me, oh, hey, so-and-so's leaving for 6 months. I'd like somebody to put in their schedule or in their spot. And then I was kind of beating my head into the wall saying, why aren't they talking to people? So I created a team incentive and competition. I applied points to the value of a private client, semi-private or group client, and whoever off of my team at the end of 30 days has the most points, they get a $1,000 Visa gift card. And this is to incentivize them to go out and talk to strangers and to shake people's hands. So it could be at one of their clients, let's say one of their clients' kids plays soccer. They can go to the soccer game, they can hand out some free week passes, they can network. But it was to force them out into public so that people in the community know who they are and that they're a part of momentum. But that's the I want them to talk to strangers thing.
That's interesting too. And you created an offer for them that's easier for them to sell to strangers. You created this free week essentially. I mean, who's going to turn down a free pass or whatever? Yet that's great. Is it working?
Yes, so far we've gotten since the beginning of this month. So we're 10 days in. We've gotten I think 12 people to come in for the free week so far. And I created tickets, like they're 2x6 tickets, and it has a QR code on it that links to one of the Kilo funnels if the person doesn't sign up right away. But my team has something tangible to hand to people.
So we've been talking a lot about new sales. We've been talking about this Black Friday. So we got a lot of packages purchased. We're talking about this intro offer. Your team is now going out into the wilderness, trying to drum up new business. Tell me a little bit about retention, because you used to be the person. You used to be coaching all the sessions. You used to be the face of the business. You still are, but you're not on the floor, right? And so you have to, teach your team how to do the job of retaining people, of selling people and retaining them, right? Of building those relationships, especially when your client base is a little transient, right? They're snowbirds, it's seasonal. How do you look at retention? How do you score, your coaches when a good chunk of their clients are literally, snowbirds? How do you track that stuff? And how do you teach them the things they need to know in order to retain a full book of clients?
So I had to understand the ebbs and flows of the business and our clients first to be able to teach them what to expect, and also to teach me how to track some of those metrics. So I would say 60% of our clients are here year round. And out of a year, the average person trains about 48 weeks out of the year. So there's a couple of weeks of vacation, there's holiday stuff, but on average, we're getting 48 weeks of training out of a client. On the ones who are seasonal, we know how long they're going to be gone, when they're going to be back. We make sure that we're communicating in the interim while they're away. We're checking in if they're working with a trainer in their other home, or we have some online training programs that we can send people to do. But coaching my team up on it, it's how do we have some sort of brand continuity? And so understanding what I want a session to look like from start to finish, and then teaching the team how to do it. So, down to how are we warming people up to we're stretching it at the end. How are we meeting people where they are? How are we doing our 6-week check-ins to make sure that our clients know that we're still helping them work toward their goals? And then teaching the team really how to communicate with people, right? Whenever somebody comes in as a trainer, if a client, let's say we have something planned, this is going to be our workout for this particular client today. And then that client walks in and let's say their dog died the day before. They may not be capable of it. So teaching the team how to ask the right questions, how to read people, how to be able to pivot mentally and emotionally if somebody needs us to support them in a slightly different way that day. And then that's the relationship building and the rapport building that I think makes training something that will be around far beyond whenever the robots take everything over. but teaching the trainers how to utilize the human aspect of what we do, and then the human connection of what we do, and provide them with an exceptional workout, get them good results. But there's like the follow-up, the check-ins, the texting in between, making sure that we track their milestones. We know when their birthdays are, right? Like my entire team signs birthday cards for all of our clients. So just making sure that people feel better whenever they leave us than whenever they walked in the door. And it's really on like a ton of repetition with the team. If a trainer has a difficult client, we work through it together as a team. We collaborate a lot.
That's huge. It's not just a, hey, how are you feeling today? Are you sore? It's like, no, it's not just those questions. It's about getting to know a little bit more about how they're actually feeling that day.
Well, and then how
And
do you recover after the last workout?
yeah,
Like, do you find
yeah,
that you're having more access to things that bring you joy in day-to-day life because the gym is a tool?
that's a great question. No one's asked me that in a while. So that's cool. Yeah, let's take a tiny step back. You used to be coaching 60 hours on the floor. You're now managing a team of 10 people, 14, 15 people. How did we get to that point? I know you're saying, we're training the team, we're having meetings. What was kind of the first step to offloading some of your work?
Well, it wasn't an easy first step. I had been, let's say, go back to like 2018, 2019, was trying to figure out how do I step more into the owner role versus the owner operator. And I would talk to clients about wanting to scale back, and they'd be like, no, no, no. Oh, that's great. But as long as you still train me.
Right, right.
Uh, that was challenging, and that I felt like I was constantly going to let somebody down, and so I would just work more and more and more, and I wasn't an exceptional leader. And then let's fast forward to 2021, was playing adult recreational soccer, and I got tackled by a woman much larger than I am, and I felt my vertebrae do something weird.
Ooh,
And that was Sunday. On Friday, I lost motor function in my left leg. So I had a central spinal cord injury, ended up having to have a couple back surgeries. It's been a process, but it forced me off the floor. And so if I were to give somebody advice, it would be to rip the Band-Aid off.
break your back.
No, don't do that. I don't recommend that. But rip the Band-Aid off. There's no doing it slowly, because what will happen is people will look at you as the business owner and they'll say, well, I was getting all of this from this person, him, her, whomever, and they don't want me anymore. Whereas I couldn't. So if I had just stopped training and reassigned them to my team, that also would have worked the same. Because I would say out of my entire book, I had 2 clients that got mad that I wasn't recovering fast enough and coming back to work. And out of the entire time, only losing 2 people is pretty phenomenal, right? I
Yeah.
made sure that I was still maintaining contact. I made sure that the transition was smooth, but there was no halfway doing it. There was no dialing back to 10 to 15 hours a week without really heavily upsetting somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely one way to do it. Just incapacitate yourself so you literally can't coach anymore.
Do it.
And then,
I don't
and then it'll
it.
force you to do some SOPs while you're in bed recovering, which I kind of love. I kind of get it. Okay, so this injury, kind of forced you to take a step back, start to systematize and write down some of your processes so you can replicate those and hand them to someone else. So what is the kind of workload and week like for a coach now? So they obviously have their book of clients on the floor. You're saying there are these meetings. How often are those happening? Also, some of their work is texting and doing check-ins. So yeah, break down their kind of responsibilities.
So their job is pretty simple. I don't ask them to do too many things, because if they are doing what they're good at, which is training, and the clients are happy, then the clients will keep coming back. So I'm not trying to give them too many add-on things. They wake up in the mornings, they'll come train people. I'm still pretty flexible with their schedules. I would say over half of my team is full-time, meaning some of them train over 30 hours a week, and they're happy. They can train, they work out in their in-between times, they work out together, they train each other. So we have a really good culture there. There is a 1-hour team meeting every week. We meet on Thursdays at 1, and it's for us really to unpack what's going on in the week, the leads that we have. Do we have any upcoming events? Are there any clients who are being problems, or do we have clients who are going through anything like life changing? And then outside of that, it's just kind of making sure that they're on top of their schedules, that they check people out, and then that whenever MindBody says they're out of sessions, they charge the client for the new package. And those are kind of their very basic primary and cleaning up after themselves.
You mentioned the culture piece too. What's in the culture section of the handbook?
Oh, so the culture section, there's our story, right? Like I talk about the founding story because I want my team to understand why I started the business and to get them excited to help people, because I don't want to bring somebody onto the team who sees training as something that is different than the overall vision of the business. So we have a responsibility to help people live healthier lives. And so all of the team members, they want to do that. They want to help. They want to serve. So our brand values it's in the handbook, because I have a team culture handbook with like all the SOPs and stuff linked into it. And there are the roles and expectations of the trainer, how they're supposed to talk to a client whenever they come in, how they're supposed to respond or react, how they're supposed to interact with one another. But some of that happens so organically because we spend so much time together that the culture kind of evolves in and of itself. And I have individual one-on-one meetings with each one of the team members at least once a month. Some of them are once a week because that's what they've asked me for as far as what support looks like for them to help them do their job better.
And with 15 people and all these members, what happens if 2 people need to use the squat rack that's in the middle of the room? How do we make sure we're not crashing into each other? And how do we justify that high price point and make it feel like, it's still one-on-one, even if the gym's packed at 6 p.m.?
So the trainer is still customizing each of the workouts. We have in the rig has capability to have 4 squat racks on it. And then we have another like 2 squat rack sections. We have, of course, several cable machines. We have all the dumbbells, the benches. And I would say it depends on the client and who we're working with. But we've not run into an issue with not having enough equipment, or our members, if they say that it's crowded, they like it. It's not like, oh, there's too many people in here, because the people who don't want to be around other people will ask us on the front end. They're like, when is it the least crowded? And so then I make sure that I'm doing like the matchmaking thing. And I'm like, oh, this trainer will be good for you. And this is the time you should come.
Beautiful. So then speaking of, well, you mentioned your trainers, you mentioned their day. How is your day spent? What are your responsibilities now that you're no longer coaching? You're obviously doing a lot of leadership and training and staff training. What are your day-to-days like?
So most days I've got some meetings. I do a lot of business to business relationship development. We have, I would say, a network of over 100 physical therapists that I try to maintain relationships with. And so any given day, I could have several meetings that are more on the business building end. I'm responsible for all of our sales and marketing. So if we know that we're going to have a big event coming up, it's like, which media outlets am I reaching out to, newspapers? What is the information that I'm putting out into the world about the business? Because I believe that it's my duty and responsibility not only to be a good leader, but to continue to build the business for the future of the people who are working with me and wearing my brand. So that I do train every day. I have one of the team members train me so that I'm able to work on my fitness. And then it's the 1 hour out of a day I don't have to make a decision. But most of my time is spent on business building, business development, and then coaching my team through issues if they need help.
So coming up on the hour, we're going to wrap things up. I got just 1 or 2 more questions here for you. You've been in the biz for 20 years. What do you wish you could have told yourself 20 years ago? I guess another way of thinking about this, I was talking to someone literally last week. She called me up it was a friend of a friend, and she's thinking about leaving her corporate job and starting a gym. And she wants to start, like, she's really into bodybuilding, and she thinks there's not enough gyms focus on helping women get into bodybuilding, making them feel safe coming in the gym first time, and all I could really say was, starting a gym is actually pretty easy. Keeping one alive is the hard part. So what advice would you say to that person?
Oh man. Write everything down because ultimately, in order to continue to have a business that is not just you, because this is not an industry that we can stay in and continue to abuse our bodies, training people for hours and hours and hours a day. So if your aspirations are to have a team, write everything down. Get your processes out because trying to think about it on the other side is very difficult. Whenever somebody wanted to ask me how I do what I do, and it's something that felt as easy as breathing, and then I had to back up and I had to think about it. Had I written it down on the front end, it would have saved me a lot of time. It would have saved me a lot of internal angst, of feeling like I wasn't delivering something to my team. The other thing is be persistent, be willing to fail and pivot because not every idea is a good idea. I've had plenty of really bad ideas. Being able to follow something that you're passionate about, because whenever you get excited, people buy feelings, they don't buy things. And so if you're excited about something, the other person that you're talking to wants to feel the same thing that you're exuding. And so if you are leaning into the thing that you're passionate about, people around you are naturally going to get excited and they're going to want to buy the thing because they want to buy the feeling that you're sharing with them. Man, other things. Pay your taxes. That's another one. Even though those tax bills are awful every single time, don't do some of the things that I've seen other gym owners do and try to skip out on it. Pay your taxes. Um, the
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Don't commit fraud. Pay your taxes. You know.
Side. Don't run a gym with independent contractors either because it's hard to have brand continuity. I started off, and because the industry was full of independent contractors, I didn't know any better. So I wanted to get people bought into my brand, and then trying to make that pivot midway through business was very difficult.
Yeah, it was also kind of like pushed for a while too by some of the gurus out there. So you have employees.
Yes, everybody's W-2. They have a 401k option. The only thing that I don't provide is like medical benefits, just because we can't get good group rates. And so the insurance that I would be able to provide is actually really bad. So I just make sure that I compensate them well, that we're working on achieving metrics that make them feel like they can actually live.
Preach. And so what's next? Gonna open 10 more? What's
Um,
going on? What's happening?
Well, next for me is really on the like, how do I continue to put trainers out into the world who are really helping change people's lives? So we have a good internship program. That's something that I'm focused on building and developing. I have a couple of opportunities we have a new professional soccer organization coming into the area, and so I'm working on that contract right now. But scaling without necessarily having to build another 5 to 10 gyms, it's like, how do I continue to scale? How do I continue to make an impact in the community? And then on my side, the how do I take health and wellness to more people and give more people access to the tools that I would use with somebody in health coaching? So
Wow. I'm so excited to hear about all that next time you're on. So if people want to follow along your journey, if people, maybe some gym owners might want to buy your healthy habits thing, where can they find you?
So, I mean, where they can find me, I am on Instagram. I'm horrible about posting, but my personal handle is Momentum Marie, and then my gym is Get Momentum Fit. Of course, there's the website, which is getmomentumfit.com. That's kind of easy business information. I think my email, you can email me through it, but that's kind of it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this. I don't even know what date it is, Thursday evening. If you, dear gym owner, got some value out of this, make sure you give us a like, give us a subscribe, share this episode with a gym owner in need. And if you want help with some of those texting automations that Marie's got going on, go ahead and take a look at Kilo. Use Kilo.com. We can help you with your website, your marketing automation, your texting, get you ready for that next Black Friday sale, and your gym management software. So we can help you actually sell some more personal training packages. And that's all for now. Gym owner, thank you. We love you, and we'll see you next week.